If you've been eating less, moving more, and repeating consistency is key as your bedtime mantra, but the scale is barely moving, I've been there. And I'm sorry to tell you that the very healthy habits you're proud to be sticking to are actually the exact ones wrecking your metabolism. What are these habits? Well, after analyzing 1,184 people that I've coached, I noticed that they were all experiencing the exact same symptoms before joining: plateaus, miserable cravings, and what felt like a total metabolic shutdown. But they weren't failing because they were lazy. They were failing because they were doing too much. I've distilled those findings into the top 6 habits they thought were their lifeline, but were actually their anchor. I'll also tell you what to do instead, and pay close attention to number 2, because if you have ever tried eating less to lose faster, what I show you there will explain exactly why your body decided to stop cooperating. To see why the second habit ruins your progress, you first have to understand the exact trap you're likely stuck in right now: the efficiency trap. We have all heard it. Eat less, move more. Simple math, right? And the math does make sense on paper. 1 pound of fat equals roughly 3,500 calories. So if you got 500 calories a day, you lose a pound a week. Because of that logic, most people do exactly that. Women often slash down to 1,200 calories, and men go to 1,500. But the US Air Force discovered the flaw in this approach the hard way. They measured 4,000 pilots and designed a cockpit around the average body. But when they actually built it, not a single one of those 4,000 pilots fit. A life or death matter. Designing for the average meant designing for nobody. They had to scrap the whole thing and introduce adjustable seats. Your metabolism works exactly the same way. A fixed calorie number doesn't account for your body specifically, which is why it works for a few weeks and then stops cooperating. How? First, it reduces subconscious movement, the fidgeting, the bounce in your step, the amount you pace. Then, it reduces the energy spent digesting your food. And finally, the biggest hit: your base metabolic rate plummets. Your body actually changes its internal chemistry to survive on the tiny amount of food you're giving it. This is why people living on 1,200 calories find their weight loss stops. And with every slash in calories, their body catches up quickly and they plateau again and again. Therefore, the fix isn't to slash harder. You need an adjustable seat. What the data showed is a sustainable deficit isn't a fixed number for everybody. It's relative to your current body weight. Specifically, a target deficit of just 11 to 15% of your daily maintenance calories. After this video, you can use the calorie calculator linked in the description below to calculate it for your body. But even if you perfectly nail the 15% deficit, the quote-unquote healthy habit number 2 can dig a massive hole in your metabolism. Consistency is key. We have all heard it so many times, it feels like a law. And it's not wrong. You can't get the result without the effort. But here's the problem. That whole no days off mindset assumes your body operates like a machine. Same output every day. But human biology is cyclical. Standard fitness culture tells you to just push through the fatigue. But when you force workouts through a high-stress week or run a bad sleep, your body hits a wall called overreaching. Think of it like a rubber band. You stretch it back with a tough workout or a strict diet plan to create tension so it can fly forward. But if you keep pulling and pulling, it doesn't fly further, it snaps. You aren't building discipline, you are actively digging a metabolic hole. So we have a massive contradiction. Consistency matters, but forced consistency breaks you. So how do you fix this? By changing your definition of consistency. When I compared the data of my most successful students versus those who struggled more, I realized something completely backward. The successful ones don't have perfect streaks. They fall off the wagon, skip workouts, and have bad days just as much as anyone else. The difference? They get back on faster. So stop tracking how many perfect days you can string together before the rubber band snaps. Track your bounce back rate. Track the time it takes you to recover from a slip up. As long as that window is getting shorter over time, success is inevitable. But to actually bounce back faster, you have to avoid the quote-unquote healthy habit number 3. Do you relate to this? You decide to get serious about your weight loss. You lock in your eating. You start walking more. Week 1, you feel unstoppable. But by week 3, the sheer mental weight of maintaining all those new rules crushes you. The very routine that was supposed to fix your metabolism is exactly what leaves you completely hollowed out. So you end up crashing on the couch, scrolling your phone until midnight, waking up exhausted, and doing it all over again. Psychologists call this revenge bed procrastination, staying up late just to steal back some free time because your day was so rigid. But here's what that grind is actually doing to your waistline. Poor sleep spikes your hunger and cravings. It quietly kills your NEAT, all the subconscious calorie-burning movements we talked about in healthy habit number 1. And the chronic stress floods your body with cortisol, which directly slows your metabolism. Standard fitness culture tells you the fix is simple. Just reduce stress. But when you hear that, what do you actually think? Quit my job, hire a nanny, meditate for an hour a day. The scope feels impossible. So you ignore the stress entirely and just try to slash more calories and run harder on the treadmill. But here's the crazy part. Across my 1,184 clients, the stress wrecking their metabolisms wasn't coming from a massive life event or their boss. It was happening every 30 seconds due to attention fragmentation. Think about a typical work hour. You're writing an email, your mind suddenly drifts to a difficult conversation from this morning, then to a random chore. Every single time you toggle between those thoughts, your brain leaves behind attention residue. Think of it like having 50 tabs open on your internet browser. Even if you're only looking at one tab, those background tabs are silently draining your battery. Your brain burns 20% of your body's total energy. Fragmenting your focus all day redlines that engine. It spikes microdoses of your stress hormone, cortisol, hundreds of times before you even clock out. So by 5 p.m., you aren't just physically tired. You have actively drained your central nervous system, which is exactly why the couch and the doom scroll win every single night. But once I showed my clients the root cause, the fix was surprisingly small and simple. You need to treat your attention like a closed loop. When a random thought interrupts your main task, don't chase it. Tell yourself, I have time set aside for that task after task X. Feel free to actually schedule a task for the random thought and put it after task X. Then bring your focus back. Every time you do that, it's like doing a bicep curl for your brain. That cognitive muscle gets stronger and you stop the cortisol leaks. But what about when you finally hit the couch at night? Telling yourself to just put the phone down is completely useless because your brain's battery is too drained. So you have to bypass willpower entirely. And the only way is to allocate not just time, but a specific space for each one of those activities you want to fit into a time box. For example, I only check social media at the park near my house. And I only check my newsletters and YouTube watch list at a cafe 10 minutes from my home. It's less comfortable than my couch, it requires a physical walk to get there, but that tiny bit of friction alone is enough to limit both to 30 to 60 minutes a day at most. But even if you're laser focused, healthy habit number 4 can quietly stall everything. And it starts the second your stomach growls. When I looked at my 1,184 clients, they split almost perfectly into 2 groups. The first group was terrified of hunger. Standard fitness culture told them they needed to stoke their metabolism by eating every 2 hours, so they grazed constantly. A handful of almonds here, a protein bar there, they made sure hunger never showed up uninvited. But constantly grazing makes it easy to accidentally eat more than your body needs. It's called mindless eating for a reason. Then we had the second group, who took the exact opposite approach. They believed hunger meant progress, so they white-knuckled their way through massive, miserable gaps between meals. But as we know from habit number 1, chronic starvation just lowers your base metabolic rate to compensate. So ironically, the harder they fought through the hunger, the faster they hit a plateau. So we have 2 completely opposite approaches, creating the exact same stalled result. How do you fix it? What the data showed is the sweet spot is eating every 3.5 to 4 hours. That usually means 3 solid meals and 1 high-protein snack. This creates enough structure to keep your energy up, but enough empty space between meals to not overeat. But even if you're timing your meals right, 23% of our clients were already doing that and still seeing 0 fat loss. They all said the same thing. I eat so healthy. Why can't I lose weight? And I get it. It feels completely unfair. You skip the office donuts, you buy expensive organic groceries, you watch your friends eat burgers while you order a kale salad. By every single measure of health, you're doing everything right. One of my clients, Pratyusha, was exactly in this spot until one question in the program flipped her entire perspective.
If 2 people have the same maintenance calories and one person eats only very healthy stuff but goes over 1500 calories and one person only eats junk but is less than 1500 calories, who loses weight? And I actually got the answer wrong, and I thought it's the person who eats healthy, but it was the person who eats less. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is probably why I've never been able to lose weight, because I eat healthy, but it was just never the right quantity.
And when she started matching her meals to her actual energy needs, suddenly 0 fat loss before program turned into 5.4 pounds of loss in 1 month. Think of your daily energy needs like building a house. Your body's blueprint calls for exactly 2,000 bricks, let's say. You can build with cheap concrete, or you can use beautiful, high-quality marble, like avocados and wild salmon. But if you provide 2,500 marble bricks, your body has no use for the extra 500. So it does the only thing it can. It stacks the leftovers as body fat. To get Pratyusha's results without becoming a professional calorie tracker, follow what I call the 15% plate rule. Swap your current bowls and plates with ones 1/6 or 15% smaller. But don't change what you eat or how many servings you take. Because of a psychological effect called the Del Buff illusion, your brain will see a full plate and signal satiety, but your body will actually be receiving a 15% calorie deficit. But even if you nail everything so far, this final quote-unquote healthy habit will undo all of it. My client Lisa described it perfectly.
So what I thought were my biggest problems were I was making bad food choices, and I would get into this zone. And then I used exercise either as punishment or as compensation. It was just that made me so sad and emotional all the time.
While Lisa used exercise to compensate for food, some people do the opposite. They exercise so much they feel they have earned extra food and end up gaining weight. The only winning move after a slip-up is to do exactly what you would have done if yesterday had been perfect. You just eat your standard meals and do your normal workout. No skipping lunch or revenge cardio. Just get back on track as if nothing happened. If you can eliminate these 6 habits, you are going to see a massive shift in your progress. But the truth is, this is just the first layer. When we look closely at our clients' data, there are actually many other healthy traps hiding in the shadows. And more importantly, the way you fix them isn't one size fits all. Implementation is highly individual. What helped Lisa might not be the exact strategy your specific body and lifestyle needs. So how do you figure out exactly what you need to do? You can do it in 2 ways. One, if you want my help shortcutting through the trial and error to nail down exactly which habits are holding you back and how to fix them for your specific situation, you can learn more about my weight loss program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to miss this next video, where I walk you through the complete A to Z blueprint my co-coach Lucy and I spent 10 years and $45,000 combined to figure out. Without a clear blueprint, you'll keep fixing the symptoms instead of the root cause. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. I'll see you over there, and always remember, you can do it.